Right, guys, welcome back to the 12th Man. Today, it is, what day is it? It's Wednesday. It's Thursday night show, the regular Thursday night show, 7:30 every week. It's so regular that we haven't done it for over a month, Mark. It's embarrassing, but we can thank our thankless cup run for that, can't we, this season? But, yeah, we're back with the 12th Man. So much to talk about, especially after the run of games we've had recently, but we'll get on to that in a minute. Tonight we're at the Giros in Ipswich under new management, a great place for supporters to come prior to games at Portman Road this season. On the 14th of December they have a Christmas jumper day in which they invite supporters along. There's going to be special food and drink offers for Ipswich Town fans before and after the game, so make sure you come down here and get your drinks in. Mark, it's been crazy for us. I'll just give everyone an update what we've been up to this season. So far, since in the last month we've just been at games constantly, week in, week out, following the town. We've actually done 3,700 miles this season, mate, so far. What do you make of that?
There's still many more to come, I think, isn't there?
I know, we've still got over 4,000 to do.
Yeah, we've still got some long ones in there. Blackpool, Tranmere,
Sunderland. We've got to book that one up, mate. I forgot about that.
Definitely.
Yeah, we keep missing that one out. But over the last few weeks we've had a lot of FA Cup games, and we didn't go to the two of them. Coventry being one of them, and the other being Lincoln away. Yeah, and we decided to just stay at home and offer a little goggle box kind of match of the day kind of spin off. And during that, 5,500 of you joined us for that. So that's just an incredible audience, isn't it? And something that we'll probably look at doing in the future. But it's opened up new doors. We're looking at doing new things in the future. And yeah, that's where, these couple of weeks have been really good for us. So we've worked out different kind of avenues that we want to go down, but bringing the best content, not only for football, but for Ipswich Town fans as well. But yeah, it's been a good start to the season so far. But we're vastly approaching 250,000 views on the channel so far this season, so it's been incredible. It's been absolutely incredible. Just to put it into context, we've only been going for a year and a bit now, not even a year and a quarter, so it's been really good. But whilst you're here, whilst you're watching, the bottom right hand corner, just hit that subscribe button, just click on the little logo in the bottom right hand corner and press subscribe. Don't want to miss out on anything this season. So Mark, let's get into it, mate. There's plenty to talk about. We could be here all night, but I'm gonna talk about specific things that are a deterring town at the moment, maybe, and in some people's eyes need to be talked about. Yeah. But we'll start with some general headlines. So the first one, Daryl Murphy has the former town striker has publicly admitted a 6-week ban he served last year whilst playing at Nottingham Forest for failing a drugs test. Now, the PFA don't release the details of these drugs tests, but for a player to come out in this day and age and actually admit that they've been done for drugs is a massive thing nowadays, wouldn't you say?
Definitely. The last one I sort of remember going public was probably the biggest one, would probably Mutu at Chelsea, just years ago, and it's been sort of hid under the carpet, really, any sort of things. We've had a few. I think Josh Allworth, another former town player, was done a couple of seasons ago, but yeah, sadly money seems to be no object for footballers, and they've got to find something to spend it on, and sadly Daryl's made a mistake, and it's cost a little bit of playing time for him.
Yeah, and they say the headline was it's a largely unblemished career that is technically maybe even ruined or tarnished by coming out and saying this, but respect for him for saying that it's the biggest mistake he ever made. And at 36 his career's pretty much finished. So he could have technically finished it himself by bringing that story out.
Yeah, sadly shit sticks, unfortunately. Follows a lot of players around regardless of what they've done in the past or what they've gone on to do afterwards in the game. But you got to, in a way, he's highlighted a problem in society. Recreational drug use. It's probably not uncommon among professional footballers. We just don't know about it. It's actually quite refreshing to see someone openly admit that they've done it, and it's something that they regret doing, and has tarnished their reputation slightly. So.
Yeah, 100% agree. So last week we were on the road, just on the road with Andy driving, but we made it. Yeah. We made it to Peterborough in the end. He doesn't like A roads, so we took all the B roads and We only just survived that.
Yeah.
I won't be doing that again.
He's still looking for a Swede, I think, on that road.
He definitely lost his Swede that night. But yeah, we made it through to the next round of the Leeson.com trophy. Is that the third round that we're in now? And we've got a draw against Exeter now. Yeah,
it is. Yeah.
Yeah, so we've got to go down to the deep south of the country and play Exeter at some point. Yeah, cider drinkers down there. But in terms of the performance, not too bad considering the lineup that we put out with. And we'll get on a bit more onto changes in a little while, but let's take some positives out of this one. We've gone and drawn 1-1 with a strong Peterborough side, you'd argue.
Yeah.
And we had a number of debutants that night. We've had 3 debutants and 1 return into the lineup. We'll start with the debuts. Shibek in goal. What did you make of him, mate?
Oh, sensational! What kind of debut can you ask for? Really, nothing better really than saving 2 penalties to win the game. But yeah, a nice embrace of his family at the end of the game. It actually made it quite a special night for what was just, this tin pot competition. A lot of people have been calling it. It was actually quite a big moment for a lot of us. I don't know. We haven't been in many penalty shootouts because our cup form is that terrible. Yeah. To actually go
I think I looked at the stats. In the last 5 shootouts, we can go all the way back to the 70s. That's how many we've had.
Yeah, exactly. It's refreshing to actually get that sort of. It felt. It's going to sound ridiculous, but it actually felt quite big at the time. Yeah. It's something different that we don't really experience. We've seen a lot. The men's national team have had penalty heartache and success in recent times, but we never really get to see it at club level, like I said, because our cup form is that goddamn awful. Yeah. We don't even get to penalties, so it's good.
We're top of the pyramid. You'd say top of the pyramid if you take a team like Wickham out of it. I don't know if they're still in it, but by league standards, we are the favourites to win this competition based on where we are in League One. But another debutant that night was Alex Henderson. I said to Tom, me and Tom had actually watched him the week before, and we were saying he looked like a kind of guy you'd bring into the first team setup. Needless to say, we didn't actually see Lambert that day because we watched the first half, Lambert watched the second half, and obviously Henderson done enough to get his first team bow. At centre back, did he look assured?
He looked fine. He came. It was as much as it was a weakened Peterborough team. It was probably majority of their signings from the last 2 seasons that have all failed, like they always do. Yeah. He had Dembele up front, who's a tricky character. Not sure who the guy who grabbed their goal was, but a lot of the players I've seen play in the last 18 months for Peterborough. Playing their first team. And
I'd say 5 of those players that were on the pitch that night were in the starting 11 when we played them down there.
Yeah, exactly. It was, I think when we pulled into the car park and saw what the team was on that Wednesday night, we thought, why have we come all this way for this? But maybe that's what it takes sometimes, a little bit of shock and awe, and you get actually a nice result at the end of it, really.
It kind of put a dampener on the night, didn't it, originally seeing that starting lineup?
We thought, we're looking forward to that KFC at the end of the night, I think, more than anything. But by the end of the game, I think we were all actually probably the most excited I've been at a cup game probably since the Carling Cup game against Arsenal. Yeah. Like, it's literally, that's, going back to the cup form, that's how bad it is. But ultimately, there's not been any excitement in any cup competitions, and for these young lads, whether they go on to make a career of it, which I hope many of them do, it's probably a night that they will remember fondly in their early years until they make some better memories.
Another one that made a debut that night, a left back coming on at half time, was Tommy Smith. Not the one that we all know and love, but the one, a 17, 18-year-old, came on at left back. Didn't really make that much of an impression for me. What about you?
Well, we've heard a lot about him. I think Kieran Dyer's been quite high on him. When we went to the quiz night with the supporters club, Jack Lancaster was a player who mentioned Tommy Smith as being a player to keep an eye out for. I was a bit surprised to see he didn't start the game, but I don't know whether it was because you've got 1,000,001 rules and regulations about who can play and who can't in those games, can't you? So maybe he probably would have been in line for start, but we've still got hopefully a few more games in this competition, and maybe he'll get another chance later down the line to show what he can do, really. Yeah,
and the big one, obviously, that and everyone's really been talking about is the re-emergence of Barry Cotter. Now, a player that has largely missed out on any action in the last 2 years, purely because of his attitude towards playing. It's been quite public that his attitude is bad. It's got to a point now that we're missing right back so much that he maybe needs to be given a chance. But I'd like to say that he was given his chance on merit rather than just being handed it.
Yeah, he backed it up at the end as well. It takes some balls to go up and take the winning penalty.
Yeah.
But no, for large parts of the game, he was positive, always driving forward. Still a little work to do defensively, but that will come with time, and that only comes from playing games. I think he probably, if anything, he needs a loan move to an actual professional club rather than non-league. Going out to non-league still.
And he looked good that night, didn't he? Yeah. He really gave Peterborough a tough test.
Yeah, he dove in a few times, sliding tackles and bits and pieces, but he was always quick on recovery and did make up for it in the end. So can't fault him on that, really, to be fair.
No, so through to the next round of the leasing.com, and that's our easiest way to Wembley. It's the path that everyone wants to take. Let us know what you feel about this cup run. Make sure you give us a like as well. If you're watching now, give us a like and a comment. Let us know what you want. Do you want to go to Wembley this season? I certainly do. I know there's a few people that don't want to go to Wembley for this season for some strange reasons, but everyone's entitled to their opinion. But let's look a bit closely to the FA Cup, which followed that. The FA Cup was before that. The league followed that. Coventry.
When have we played Coventry?
Yeah, we just Coventry 3 times in the week. Yeah. So I'm losing my Swede here.
Their Twitter account deserves some praise because that Groundhog Day thing was gold. Yeah, that was gold.
They're definitely winning on Twitter recently. But Town took on Coventry in the league on Saturday, and we could only draw. And to be honest, if you watched the Matchday vlog, if you watched at half time, you would have seen me state that that's probably the best half of football I've seen this season, and I'll go to my grave saying that. We were incredible. How we weren't 5-0 up at half time, I don't know.
It was... I don't want to sound smug, but we were playing 4-2-3-1. And I don't know who on this channel has been a big fan of 4-2-3-1, but I'm looking a bit smug right now. But I don't know what really happened. It was polar opposite. If we've seen this time and time again, sadly, this season, where usually the better performances, like the absolute domination, comes in the first half. MK Dons comes to mind, absolutely dominated them in the first half. And again, I think Gilling was probably another one where we looked pretty confident. Yeah, it just doesn't seem to transition. I don't know what happens at half time, whether we just let our foot off the gas, but it's been a bit frustrating. But can't discredit what you said about that first half, because I was absolutely chuffed to pieces. Some beautiful football playing out from the back. That Alan Judge chance, if that had gone in, what a hell of a goal that would have been. It would have started from the keeper and gone all the way. But just comes down to taking chances again. Like you said, quite easily could have been 3-0, if not more, up. So
I think when it comes to games like that, chances turn into frustration if you don't put them in the back of the net. You do struggle to keep your head going into this. Now, Coventry came out a completely different side in the second half. Like I say, I don't know what Lambert said to the boys at half time. More of the same. Keep going, keep doing it. And to be honest, they probably would have been laid back going into second half based on that performance. But like I say, frustration seemed to come to a head. And following that game, Town and Coventry have both been charged by the FA for failing to ensure their players conduct themselves in an orderly fashion. It is alleged that they failed to ensure the players conduct themselves in an orderly fashion during the 57th minute. Ironically, this was to do with the Grion Edwards incident, which he had absolutely nothing to do with.
That was a cheeky sweep of the leg by Donatian, I think, who got away completely scot-free, I think. Yeah. But it's always Grion, isn't it? Every time. He's
a bit of a hothead.
He likes a little bit of a late tackle, but I think they kind of underestimate him a little bit, and they don't think he's going to fight back. But he seems to. I can't think of a game where he hasn't, to be honest. I quite like that about him. As much as he's a
bit of a Rottweiler in terms of going for balls and stuff like that.
It's probably a side we didn't expect when we first brought him to actually see. The way he came in, he was sort of this flair player that we were all expecting, but now he's sort of had a bit of grit to his game, which does help. Especially when he's had to fill in at right wing back, not his natural position, and some performances maybe a little bit questionable, but he's not afraid to put a foot in, which I do. A lot of people do like to see, to be fair.
definitely. Obviously, we've got to leave Coventry there for the league match. Unfortunately, we drew 1-1. Will Keane got the goal. He can't go without mentioning because he scored twice in succession against Coventry. We seem to only play to his strengths, though, in terms of when we play him. He always plays up top by himself, and he has wingers around him. Quite dissimilar to obviously Jackson and Norwood, who can't play without each other. So that puts us in a bit of a position as a team for selection. Especially up front, where we're lacking so many goals recently.
Yeah, definitely. For me, it's a lot's been made, and we'll probably go on to. I wasn't at the game last night, unfortunately. But for me, there's this obsession with playing two up front, and it doesn't, like you just said. One of our best performances of the season in that first half was with one up front, and it's not about I think the problem we have is Norwood is the only striker we've got who can realistically hold the ball up. Keane can do it, but I think Keane prefers the ball into feet where he can just lay it off and get going again. Norwood's the only player we've got who can hold it up. So that's the only time it works in a 4-4-2. I don't know. It's a bit of a conundrum. We just need to get, like we've been saying for weeks and weeks. We've not had this run of games. We now need to get against different opponents. We've got a run of games against fucking Coventry, but we just need to get a run of games going, and just see where we are really with our strikers.
And obviously tonight's episode is a build-up to the Bristol Rovers game at the weekend. But we need, preceding that game against Cov, we had Freddie Sears return to action at Millwall with the under-23s. He played 45 minutes, encouraging signs that we've got another striker on the way back. But he's not the second coming of the Messiah. He's not going to be the guy who's going to save us. Potentially he could. I've seen him do magical things. A lot of people wouldn't have seen Freddie Sears at his best. If he comes back from injury, he could be a different player. But there's one that really jumps out at me, and we've called him out of late. Emmy Hughes. It's just a completely different player. He's not the player that we signed almost 2-3 years ago. He's just looking terrible.
Yeah, I don't know. First game, you sort of like to give him the benefit of doubt. He's had such a long period of time out of the game, and then he comes back in, and you think, okay, it's going to take a little bit of time. Then the second game, and you think he's still not showing. And then obviously, last night, from what you've told me, again, no signs of improvement. And when you come out and say, I want to be starting games and put in performances like that, you're not doing yourself any favours whatsoever. And it's competition for places is, especially in midfield, is rife. There's these young lads coming through who I'd love to see get more game time. Further forward with El Mazzuni and Dobra, further back with McGavin and others. You've still got Teddy Bishop to come back at some point. If Emmy wants to make an impact, he's got to start doing it. And
he looked like a passenger last night, mate. And I know you weren't there, but obviously Town were knocked out of the FA Cup at the second time of asking last night. 2-1 loss to Covpot, a team we've played 3 times now in a week. We should know their game plan as such, but Paul Lambert slammed it as the worst performance he's seen in charge of Ipswich. Now I can think of one that jumps out of my head. I can't for God remember who it was, but we played absolutely terrible that game.
Home.
Might have been Millwall, yeah. But we actually took the lead in that one.
First half was good in that game, but then we just threw it away. There's a few games where I can think of probably worse than that, but
that was in a relegation season, wasn't it? I mean, we've got to look at it this year. But in terms of the FA Cup, good riddance, because even though we were playing the FA Cup, gave people a few games in the FA Cup, it's kind of taken everyone's mind off of where we are now. Now, there's a few things. I've been through the forums this week, and to be honest, I'm a bit scared of what I'm seeing. 2 headlines I could pick out. One which I agree with in entirety, and the other is just absolutely ludicrous. The first that I don't really agree with is, when are we allowed to question Paul Lambert? The first question, we won't go into this too much, but you can question your manager all the time. It's how you question him. And in this sense, I think everyone's mind's a bit offset, and I'm going to prove to you why your mind's offset, because you're not looking at the whole facts. I mean, me and Mark have been to virtually every game this season, bar 2 free cup games, right? The other one is Norwood and Jackson, who are under pressure at the moment for not scoring goals. And I think in the grand old scheme of things, it's been 5 league games since they both scored. I think Southend was the last time they scored, and in terms of game time all around, we're probably looking at 6 or 7 games each where they haven't netted. Yeah. So that's worrying. I've seen those on the forums, but that is not what people are looking at. They're looking at what's happened over the last 5 games, right? The Tinker Man. You know, he's got this reputation of being the Tinker Man. I'll prove to you he is a Tinker Man, but for all the right reasons, okay? Lambert, and this is going to come astonishingly to a lot of you watching this tonight, Lambert has made 40 changes to the starting lineup in the last 5 games. 40 players. Different players starting. Now, this isn't different players. I mean, different names in each starting lineup from the one before, okay? 40 different changes for each of those starting lineups, okay? 27 different players have been used in those lineups, okay? Following that, only one player has started more than 3 games, and that's Luke Wolfenden. But please, take into consideration those facts, but we have only played 1 league game in the last 5 games, okay? Our concentration shouldn't really be on the cups, it should be on the league. The EFL trophy aside, we've played once, and we've played the FA Cup 3 times. Okay, so people's heads are going all over the place with this substantial amount of information where we're not actually playing in the division that we want to win. Let's look at it more roundly then. Let's look at the last 10 games. So at the last 10 games, we've got 3 wins, 2 losses and 5 draws. One of those wins came on penalties against Peterborough. Our league form is quite good. Apart from that, no loss since our defeat to Rotherham in October, I think it was. 2 wins, 3 draws, unbeaten in 5. 36 points, 4 behind Wycombe and 4 in front of Peterborough, who sit in 3rd. Town have scored only 7 goals in the last 5, only 3 coming at Portman Road, which is a big worry, and that's the biggest worry for many fans, I would say. I think that's where the problems are coming from. 1 win in 5 at home. Last win coming in September, and we all remember it well. It's Tranmere, beat Tranmere 4-1. However, we're not in trouble. You know, Ipswich Town are playing some decent football in League One. That's what we've got to remember. We've conceded only 13 goals in 18 league games, which is the least conceded by any side in the division. We've lost only twice in, I think that should be 18 games. We're averaging exactly 2 points a game. Now, these facts need to be said because no one's saying this behind closed doors. The tabloids aren't reporting this. No one's looking into it. We're averaging 2 points a game. It could have been more. You know, we could have been a lot of games where we've won, and we could be further on at this point. But managing exactly 2 points a game, that's promotion form. Okay, we've got 28 games remaining in this division. Okay, if you take those 28 games and you put that average points against them, that's 92 points for the season. In each of the last 5 seasons, that puts you in at least the top 3. Only 1 season would we not be in the top 2. So, in terms of where we are as a club, in terms of where the fans are at mentally at this moment in time, I think they're worrying about the wrong things. We're looking at cup form rather than league form.
Yeah, definitely.
And a lot of people questioning Paul Lambert. I don't understand where it's coming from.
If you're questioning Paul Lambert at this stage, all that work from last season, you know, the support that he brought back means nothing. It means absolutely nothing. You know, last season, I think you and I knew, and unless you're a delusional fantasist, you know, at this time last season we were down. Regardless of where we were in the league, mathematically possible to get out, we were down. So, you know, any sort of result, you know, it was, going to watch it last season was like sort of the fat kid at a sports day in the 100 metres. He ain't going to win, he ain't going to stay up, but, you know, you're there to just cheer him on for moral support. You know, so for us to give all that away just because we've not won a couple of FA Cup games or whatever, you know, it's just ridiculous. I think you just need to have a word for yourself if you're doubting Paul Lambert at this stage. You have every right to question him, but to ask for him out is ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous.
Well, we'll get back onto that in a second, Mark. But we've got Darren here, Darren from Clear Mud, and you're working in association with the Giros at the moment. Tell us a bit about that, mate.
Yeah, so we're working with the Giros, working with a couple of companies in Ipswich. The Giros is trying to support the supporters, so doing drinks deals before and after the games. We've got a good crowd here. We want to invite more people down. on the 14th, which is this Saturday against Bristol Rovers. You might know from my accent, I'm from Bristol, but I'm a Bristol City fan myself.
Yeah, exactly.
So you can stuff them. You can absolutely stuff them this week, not a problem. So we got some food after the game as well. So De Gira's is a place to be for all the Ipswich fans who want to come down, get a drinks deal before and after the game.
Yeah, and in terms of your Bristol roots then, mate, this Saturday's the biggest game for you really, because you haven't seen any action from Bristol apart from last season when they beat us 3-2 at Portland Road.
Well, yeah, I'm not a Bristol Rovers fan, so like I said, boys, you can stuff them. It's not a problem. You can kill those pirates. I'm not a problem. Why are pirates called pirates? They just are. I'm a Bristol City fan myself. My Ipswich roots are obviously, yourself, Daryl Knights, my cousin, used to play for Ipswich. Yeah. So I moved up here a year ago and set up my business, Clear Mud Media. Been doing some stuff with you guys.
Great partnership. You've taken us places and got us a lot of sponsorship that not many people know about, but it's helping us along the way.
Yeah, exactly. So what we try and do is, I'm from a marketing and media background, newspaper advertising, radio advertising. So what I do is I let people know about how to advertise in business, how to get people business on Facebook, social media, all that sort of stuff, and advertising newspapers and radio and stuff, and just trying to grow their business. So if there's anyone out there I can help out in Ipswich, I'm here now. So yeah, Clear Mud can help you out. Yeah,
and all your details are below, as are all of our other sponsors. But if you want to get in contact with Clear Mud, and Darren especially, really great guy. Although he's got a dodgy accent, he's all right. He's all right deep down.
All right. I'm accepted. I'm accepted in Ipswich now. It's been a year. It took me a long time, but both of my other directors are from Ipswich. Yeah. They're Ipswich Town fans. Their dads support Ipswich, so it's been great to be part of what you're trying to achieve. And when I first met you, you were so passionate about what you do, and that comes across. And with Clear Mud Media, if we can help that continue. Do you know what I mean? All the Ipswich fans, and like I said, I've got connections with my cousin playing for Ipswich in previous. Don't know where he is now. I think what is he doing now? He's probably
no idea, mate. Non-league, I reckon.
I'll find out. Darryl, what are you doing now? What are you doing now?
If you know where Darren Knights is, leave a comment below. But Darren, thanks for that, mate. Thanks for and getting us in here tonight. I mean, you didn't have to close the bar for us, mate, but we appreciate it.
It's got to be a quiet session, right? Have a couple of beers. It's got to be nice. So shut everyone out. So but if you want to come and join us on Saturday. That'd be really good. So Bristol Rovers. Yeah, they're not my team, but we're going to have a lot of people with strange accents up in the town, so it'd be nice.
I'm sure we'll get a few of them down here as well. Yeah, cheers for that, mate. So, Mark, where were we talking about this whole Paul Lambert thing, and that a lot of people are losing their swede really about it. Yeah, and Andy wasn't there last night. You weren't there last night. Obviously, we didn't do the match day vlog. Just a reminder, tonight is Wednesday. We'll be airing this tomorrow. But everyone looked at the squad and thought, do you know what? Paul Lambert's actually going for this game tonight. And we were in the mindset that as a team we're actually going to go win this game tonight. Players aside, we had Jackson and Norwood up there, Hughes, Scouse in the middle. The only thing that worried me was the back four, slightly juvenile. Barry Cott was in for his return to Portland Road since Barnsley. Last played under Mick McCarthy. It looked as though we were going to go for it, but I can tell you, before a ball was even kicked, the only player that wanted anything out of that game last night was Thomas Holy, and he was the only one that was giving us any credit as a team. And unfortunately, Coventry wanted the game, so we were going to give it to him. We don't want to travel down to Plymouth or Bristol Rovers unnecessarily. No. We've already got to go to Exeter. Yeah. Why do we need to do that twice in a week? We need to look at our calendar now. Too many games. Yeah. Too many miles travel. Do we want to travel over 9,000 miles this season? I don't. Do you think they've in a similar mindset or?
Potentially, yeah. We don't need a cup run. The leasing.com is nice, it's there. We're getting there using our B and probably C teams, and youth players to get through.
Which is ideal, isn't it?
Which is exactly what the competition is set up for bigger sides. That's why the Premier League have got under 23 squads in, to give them a chance to actually play against professional sides. Yeah. That doesn't come very often. An FA Cup run for me, it's only beneficial if you've got an absolute season where you've got nothing going on,
Yeah.
all the years under Mick McCarthy was time for a FA Cup run, which never happened. Or if you're in a relegation fight, because it gets you back in winning ways.
Yeah.
For us, we don't need it.
No.
We really don't need it. You know, I think, do we honestly care about the FA Cup? I know Tom Whitby does. That's the only person I think he does, to be honest. But
I think you know, we've made it abundantly clear, and leave a comment if you don't agree. But I think everyone wants an EFL trophy run more than they do an FA Cup run, purely because Wembley is in our sights. Yeah. And if we get this trophy, we've done and dusted it, and we don't need to come back and revisit at any point in the future.
No, completed it, mate. You know, but you know, we won the FA Cup in '78.
Yeah.
You know, we're nowhere near that level of, you know, prestige as a club at the minute. There's bigger pressing issues. As much as we sing the song about it, you know, it is a big competition, but it can be big. You need to pick your moments when you want it to be big, and for us, it doesn't need to be big at this time. You know, the side, I was quite surprised with the side that started. I thought, you know, more than good enough to win the game on paper. Paper don't win your games. Like you said, defence, a little bit concerning. Don't know what's happened to Toto. I feel a bit of a mug now spending 60 quid on that shirt with his name on the back. But
another one that's really it doesn't live up to it at all, and he looked too comfortable last night. Really comfortable.
I've never known a player to have arguably the best pre-season and start to the season without kicking a ball than Toto. The amount of, I know I contributed to it, I'm sorry, but you know, the amount of pomp he had going forward, and I just don't know what's happened to him. I really don't. I think that's with a lot.
If anything, he should be a player with so much confidence and a bit, you know, want to play that he should be standing out, but he's just not.
Yeah, I don't know. But I think that's, for me, we've got so many hungry young players, not just in defence, you know, going forward, why should we settle for playing the likes of Hughes if they're not playing well?
Yeah.
Still questions about Judge. Dazelle divides opinions. Toto definitely divides opinions. When you've got players like El Mazzuni, Dobra chomping at the bit, who do make an impact every game they play, well, I don't see why they don't get a chance.
I've seen people calling for, and you know, Richard Moss will appreciate this, but he called for Dazelle to be in the starting lineup on Saturday. Personally, at Coventry, he put in a good performance. I feel he put in some good passes, but you've not been very. Yeah, I don't think you see the game similar to how other people. You always get it in the neck after the game.
I'm of a higher power and I understand the game more. No, you know, we all see the game differently. Personally, for me, if Flynn Downs wasn't next to midfield, and people will argue that's not Andre's job, Flynn Downs and John Nolan did the work for Andre Dazelle to do a nice few passes. Yeah. Which ultimately, you know, there's the nice reverse pass is getting clipped, which sort of makes me look a bit of a mug. But, you know, for me, and that, I don't want to go back on that performance because it was the last game I've seen, and this, I want to move forward. But that second half performance was poor, and my now infamous player ratings were reflective of that second half more than that. Because, like we've been saying, that first half was so good. Yeah. To go to that level in that second half, that's why they were so low.
And for the 2,200 that were travelling, I don't reckon many of them walked away thinking, Christ, that's a performance I want to see from a top of the table team who are vying for promotion this season. But we need to move on, mate. We need to move on to the next game. The next one is vitally important for Ipswich Town. Absolutely vital that we come out and win, not only in the league but at Portman Road. Now, our form at Portman Road has been absolutely disastrous. Like we say, I think it was 1 win in 10 at Portman Road, maybe even less than that. I don't know my stats, I'm not that good. But I remember the last time we won, and I remember 2 games in particular, Shrewsbury and Tranmere, where, now, you might not agree with me on this, but both of those results make us look like we came out as comfortable victors, and I can tell you now, we were not comfortable against Tranmere in the first half, and Shrewsbury gave us a game up until about 60 minutes.
Red card as well.
And that red card absolutely changed the game. Now, we've not been comfortable in any game this season, and I've said this all the way along. Now, I think people seem to think that we're going to absolutely walk this league. And in terms, you are correct, but not in the sense of battering teams every week. We're going to be a 1-0 team. We're going to be a 2-0 team.
Yeah.
That was evident in the Championship. Why is it so? We're not one of those teams that outscores people, but we're definitely one of those teams that will give you a game. No one's outplayed us this season. We've not outbeaten anybody. It's fair to say that, it's on a knife edge this season. We could go up, and I really do expect us to go up as champions. I said at the start of the season. But Bristol Rovers are coming down, and Bristol Rovers are on a fantastic run of form. At the moment, unbeaten in 9 in all competitions since losing to Bolton at home. I think that was the first time Daryl Murphy played for Bolton. They lost that night 2-0 back in October. They're currently 5 points behind Ipswich Town, which is no mean feat. They're 5th in the table. In my eyes, a serious contender for the playoffs, if not automatic promotion, because of the squad that they've got. They've got some really old heads in there. They've got some good youngsters as well. May not be outscoring everyone, but they can beat teams. Johnson Clark-Harris is a standout performer with 8 goals in 11 league games. But obviously the other one that stands out for most Ipswich Town fans, you would say, in this generation, is Edward Upson, who obviously scored the FA Cup, Youth Cup, 2005 winning goal at Portman Road. Were you there that night, mate?
I don't think I was.
You weren't?
No, I wasn't.
Pre Ipswich Town.
Probably.
That was a good night. I'll tell you what, I must have been, 2005? 13?
Yeah.
13 years old. I remember sitting in the North Stand upper, and when he scored that, absolute raptures. I remember our whole family went to go and watch it, just because you don't really get the FA Youth Cup come down much anymore. But we played Southampton. We mentioned it a few weeks ago in the 12th man with Dan and Will about the FA Youth Cup final, and the players Southampton had in their squad have all gone on to do really good things, and ironically, our team disbanded into absolute nothingness.
There's one still in the top 4 divisions, which is Ed Upson.
I'd say Ed Upson's. I think we had Aidan Collins, Scott Barron was playing. Had Lewis Price in goal.
Lewis Price.
Was it Lewis Price? Shane Supple. Shane Supple for that final. Billy Clark, who's still playing football, he broke his ankle the game before, so didn't play in the final. Danny Haynes was playing that night. Liam Craig, who had a very good career in Scotland, he should have stayed at Ipswich Town. A number of players, I could reel them off, but we had some good players that never went on. Owen Garvin played in that one. But Ipswich were good at the time. But yeah, Ed Upson was a good player, but he was only 15 years old. He was 3 years younger than any other player in the squad. So I think it was virtually his debut coming on to the FA Youth Cup and scoring that goal, and it was an absolutely battered the net. I think it was something 25 yards, quality goal. But yeah, Ed would be, dare I say it, returned to Portman Road for the first time in his career, I would say, other than a cup game. I'm not sure.
I think when he's been at other clubs, he's not. Was it Yeovil when they were in the Championship, maybe? That rings a bell, but I don't know if he played. Yeah. This is sort of his level, really. League One sort of been where he's got most of his appearances, and luckily for us, until now, we've never been down that far. But yeah, I'm sure.
Nice little reminder for everyone come this Saturday, I imagine. Yeah. But they rate him quite high. Yeah. But questions that have come out of recent games, and bearing in mind they're still not league games. Everyone's got to stay with us, right? Unbeaten in 5 in the league, so take that into Saturday. We're strong, and on our day we're strong. But the urge for a settled 11 is the question that everyone's battering at the moment. Why can't we have a settled 11? Now, in my eyes, that question's only come from playing cup games.
Yeah.
So, no doubt in my mind, on Saturday, the goalkeeper is where we start. It's got to be Thomas Holy in goal, without a shadow of a doubt.
It's got to be, but I don't know if it will be. I think it's what I said whenever I was last on, the spine of our team for me, it always will be. There's 4 players: Holy, Wolfenden, Downs, Norwood, and you fill in the gaps.
Yeah.
And I think we haven't seen that very often. Downs is the key player, regardless of whoever else plays in the team. Flynn Downs doesn't play, I'm always sort of slightly concerned about where we're going to be heading in the game. For me, going back to criticism of Lambert, for me it is a slight criticism, especially sort of chopping and changing the goalies. I would like to see, even if it means a couple more draws on the horizon, we get get down. As much I don't want us to, but we can afford. We're not sinking like a stone.
No.
Our heads above water. It might take maybe a few more games, especially against, we've got some tough opposition to come. If we can pick up a couple of good away points, I'd love to win at Wycombe after what happened.
Live on Sky.
But, if it takes a few games just for us to maybe play, you can keep changing it, but play the same way, play the same system. I think we put a poll out on Twitter. A lot of people are quite a big fan of the 3-5-2, 5-3-2, whatever you want to call it. If it means that comes in and we see that again, get a run of clean sheets going, that could be big. Who knows what will happen in January. We've got Freddie Sears to come back. It might be rosy after that. But I think we do need that period. Now that we're getting into games, fans need to be patient. Like I was saying, all that support back end of last season means nothing if you give up now. It means absolutely nothing.
You're completely right.
So now we need to think, right, we've had maybe a little stumble. I wouldn't say a blip, maybe a little stumble. Get some consistency, get a consistent system going, get that spine of the team back, and get hopefully some wins at Portman Road, and we should be rosy then.
Right, we need to obviously wrap this up, mate. So I'll try and throw this into a quite a summarising question. One of the toughest games of the season so far, I would say, against Bristol Rovers on Saturday. Home form, can we get a much needed win? Jackson and Norwood haven't scored since October in the league. All of these things need to come together on Saturday. Jackson and Norwood win at Portman Road against Bristol Rovers. That'll set us up nicely for the Christmas fixtures, won't it?
Yeah, definitely. We all want to see a Boxing Day win. We've had a few Boxing Day wins recently, but it'd be nice to. That'd be especially good.
It's Gillingham at home, isn't it?
Yeah, so exactly. We want to beat them. Don't think our mates from Gills on the Blood are coming down for that one, sadly. But we want to do the double over them, really.
I heard that Liz Edwards is after a comment from them in a matchday programme.
Is she really?
Yeah. Might be a bit better.
Keep an eye out for that. But, Saturday's where it needs to start. Got probably a bigger game away against Pompey the week after. Then we get into the 3 festive games of Gillingham and the 2 away games at Lincoln and Wycombe.
Yeah.
For me, pick your system now, Paul.
Yeah.
Get the result on Saturday by whatever means necessary. If it comes off someone's arse, I can't give a flying fuck. And that's where you start. Build from there and go forward. Start Saturday, and then January, whoever comes back, who might come in, we don't know.
Yeah.
Just need to get some consistency, and it all starts Saturday, like we've been saying.
Momentum is the key word going forward. Now, just want to thank you all for joining us tonight, and make sure you share this. Obviously, it's a big game coming up, and the 12th Man Roadshow is back on the road. We've visited maybe 11, 12 locations this year so far. We've got plenty in line, fully booked up. Obviously, this 3-week period that we just had, 4-week period, has been completely packed full of football, so it's been impossible to get to games. But we're looking for a win on Saturday. The matchday vlog will be out on Saturday after the match. We've fixed a few issues we had, technical issues that we had with the vlog, and unfortunately it's going to put a lot of vloggers out of business by the time we come to tea time on Saturday.
Yeah, it's going to be out super quick, absolutely super quick.
And then we don't have to. A lot of people don't know this, but we've been recording sound and picture separately since MK Don's away earlier this year after our equipment broke.
Some stressful games, stressful Sundays. Tranmere, I still have nightmares.
Tranmere, worst quality vlog we've ever produced.
Yeah, but yeah, thanks for sticking with us.
Yeah.
I like to think the quality of our vlogs, even with the difficulties, hasn't dropped, but back on top form, and hopefully so the boys will be on Saturday.
Yeah, definitely. And if you want to join me and Mark for the 12th Man in the coming weeks, obviously Mark is the stalwart, the regular. I'm the host, but we always like to have a fan. Tonight we thought we'd bring you, slowly bring you back into the 12th Man. For this Christmas period. Next week, mate, we've got to get Christmas jumpers going. Obviously, we've got a Christmas party this Friday, haven't we? And hopefully we're going to be sober on Saturday morning, but I doubt it.
Keep an eye out on the vlog. You'll see who's been worst affected by Friday.
Yeah.
Tom Whitby. Look out for the team. We might put that on. Should we put that on full screen so he can get his hungover eyes? I think we'll get on the pitch.
Yeah, his bottle of drink on the floor that he always drinks. You're coming on the stretcher, I heard, Saturday.
I don't know if I'm making it. If this is my last ever appearances, it's been an amazing experience, and thank you for all your loving comments on TWTD, on the YouTube comments.
Especially Edwina.
Yeah, I'll miss you, Edwina. I really will. But yeah, if I'm there Saturday, hopefully it'll be a good day out. And
we're looking forward to Jimbo versus Tom Whitby as well. That'll be a big one.
Yeah, that'll be a big one. I think we've got to get in contact with Eddie Hearn with that one, haven't we? Got to get that booked up. So
quality.
But yeah,
quality.
But yeah, if you're down Saturday, make sure you come and see us.
Yeah,
hungover and all, we'll be hungover.
We'll leave it there then. Until Saturday, make sure you stay tuned and make sure you subscribe. Until then, come on you Blues.